Guyana, the land of many waters. From early morning walks to divine sea breeze on your face, with waves splashing on your feet and people just chilling in one of the hottest hangout spots in Georgetown, the seawall. Besides the seawall protecting us from erosion, it also helps with the mental and emotional health of an individual. My name is Atasha Bovel and I created a landscape painting of this beautiful site using my emotions to guide me in producing what I feel when I sit and admire the seawall. The title of this piece is Golden. It captures the calm and softness when I look at the sky and the water. One thing I enjoy about the seawall is the splatter of the wave as it raptures against the structures of the rough texture of the rocks. This can be seen in the foreground of the painting with the splatter of paint as golden yellow echoes the beauty of the sight.
The painting rough shore depicts imagery from part of the coast of Guyana. In the reference photo shown above, the coastline leads into the rough ocean waves. The sun beats down on the water, shedding a bright white reflection. The light dances on the rough waters, sparkling like little diamonds. The clouds high above the water showing the shadow casted from being closer to the sun, and the ocean meets the sky on the far left, while the land cuts through showing the city and trees as a silhouette. In my painting, I did my best to capture the roughness of the ocean. I used various shades, tints, and tones of blue to achieve the illusion of depth, reflection, and detail. A shade of yellow to add that wet, dirty look to the beach. Tints of blue for the sky, tints of white for the clouds, and dark shades of blue for the land. I chose that reference photo because it made me feel at peace. It reminded me of home. I could smell the fresh air and the cool breeze if I am there. The cool hue of the photo also gives me a calm feel, and I wanted to replicate that same emotional response in my work. Thank you.
I love the sound and power of water, whether it's a waterfall or the sound of waves. Just staring at the ocean makes me happy. It makes me feel small. It humbles me. It helps me to reflect and put my whole life into perspective. I've seen the sea when it's rough and wild, when it's quiet and serene, when it's dark and moody. In all these moods I've seen myself in. The ocean is secretive, and it carries the wisdom of the world around. It is formless and shapeless like souls. Dear glass and rum, the tranquility you bring just by looking at you. The very taste of you is refreshing and to an extent invigorating. Not to mention, you're so exquisite. You've captured my attention like a lonely lady staring at me from across the room. Or in more artistic terms, a nude model on a couch.
The backbone of this work is the concept of playing with perception. What may appear to be a refreshing drink turns out to be a nefarious potion, a cocktail of unknown ingredients.
My painting is titled Breathing Here. It is a mixed media painting that expresses a metaphorical concept and emotional qualities of colors, texture, and the beauty of simple things in life. I believe that natural hair on our head can teach us about life. It's like no matter if you cut it or you dye it, it always returns to its true form and it grows. This is something we all should learn. We must grow through the hardship of life. The piece used three main colors, red for representing pain, yellow, which is on the nipples, represent nutrients, and blue that represent peace and uncertainty. The overall message of this painting is that life can put you through hell, but you must learn to shine like the sun and rise up.
As individuals, we need to reshape our own perception of how we view ourselves. We need to take the time to observe our own mental and emotional process, to be emotionally comfortable enough to look back at life to free ourselves and revisit events that were constantly buried, the ones that are too painful to recall, the emotional turmoil, fears of failure, anger, regret, rejection, and loneliness that sometimes cloud our perception and leave us constantly fighting to come to terms with who we are as a person.
Inspired by a simple highlighter pen, highlighted side comments on society's tendency to showcase and celebrate what is acceptable in their eyes, leaving anything that sways from the norm hidden in the dark. Based around the idea of playing with perception, this piece borrows from Titus Kafar's exploration of the three-dimensionality of the canvas. In it, a picturesque sunset is interrupted by the harsh realities of pollution and waste.
Lime is bitter, but like an artist, it is here for a purpose. The watercolor painting Sweet Lime Cocktail is a metaphorical piece that is horizontally situated with the measurements 8 by 5 inches. The painting shows a traditional still life setup of limes, a knife, and a cocktail glass with a lime peel on the right being the main focus of the composition. The piece shows the use of secondary colors, orange, green, and purple that changes its value and chroma. Implied textures are created by using a variety of lines and brush strokes, which can be seen in the background and on the glass. Most people don't cherish the simple things in life, and in this piece, simple objects and fruit are appreciated for the dynamic beauty of simplicity. In this piece, bright colors send the message of sweet richness across the work, and the subtle touch of red-orange on the peel captures that tension with its elegant curve. The limes depict shades, tones, and tints of greens to create the illusion of space and depth. Some of us forget how nutritious limes are, like how the citrus helps improve the immune system, something we already know, and yet still we are currently being reminded about its benefit during this pandemic.
My name is Zoe Khan and this is my still life composition for my advanced painting class, themed cocktail recipe. It is a watercolor piece and it is 22 by 30 centimeters. I chose to do a lemon cocktail in a mason jar. In the composition, there are straws as well as another jar in the background. The cocktail in the foreground shows lemon slices within as well as on the rim of the glass. There are also some leaves placed on the rim for varnish. In my piece, I use various colors such as browns, blues, yellows, greens, whites, and a hint of black to achieve my goal. To achieve transparency, I use a darker color scheme, similar to the surface the jar sits upon. I use some blues and yellows on the jar to show reflection. The bright yellow lemon slices, as well as the blue and white straws, add a pop of color to this darker piece. To mimic a wooden surface, I use various shades of brown to add detail. For the background, a darker shade was used to show shadow and depth. To show reflections, not only did I use yellows and blues, but I also added white for those highlighted areas. Thank you for listening. I listen to music whenever I need to escape. Plugging my ears with earphones always raises my mood. It also helps me to be creative. Music triggers an emotional response in those listening. There's music for when you're down, music for when you're happy, music to help you sleep, music to help you get tasks done, and so many more. For this art piece, I use various colors to highlight and draw attraction to the hair. I use cool colors for the face with hints of black to add shadow and other details. First, I place multiple colors for the hair, then I use black pastel chalk to define the hair texture, strands, and shadows. Using pastels, it's very likely that the chalk dust may fall off, but I researched how to use chalk pastels and I found that I could use a small amount of water to help the chalk adhere more to the paper. I enjoy listening to various genres of music, but I favor slow beats with soft voices over it.
Do you feel the pain of the past when your African ancestors were slaughtered? Do you feel the pain of the present when your black skin is discriminated against and seen as not human? My name is Atasha Bovell and the title of this piece is The Songs of the Earth. I created this oil pastel landscape scene from listening to the song Crying of Earth. The song echoes emotional songs of a landscape scene in my mind. The darkness of the scene represents the past. The white stick-like lines are my African ancestors that I believe watches us from the clouds and left trace of their bloody brutality, seen by the red X representing death, as diagonal lines on the right represent burden in the cane field, which can also be seen by the crooked tree trunk. The message of this piece is that the ground isn't always green. It is filled with sad blues and red blood stains, but we still have to spread our roots and grow like a little plant with golden roots.
I need you. Every pore of my being is begging. As my back arched, he ran his hands all the way down from my neck to the base of my spine. His fingertips traced the silhouette of my smooth contrasting thighs. I let him go before, behind, between, above, and below. I tossed my head back. I went transparent, light-headed, catching breaths while his fingers orchestrate an exhale symphony of moans.
Inspired by the popular Broadway song of the same title, Defying Gravity is an expressive painting that explores themes of free expression and the very act of going against societal expectations.
Hello, my name is Zoe Khan, and this is my painting titled Blossom. It's a 50 by 50 centimeter oil on canvas painting. I used a warm color scheme for the female figure and various shades of greens and yellows for the hair. I used yellows to show the highlighted area on the female and reds to show the shadowed areas. I used various colors for the flowers and a black background to help the figure and the flowers stand out more.
There are many fishes in the sea, they say. You lived by those words. Ladies offering you an overdose of shellfishes on platter. But you went for the one that fell off. You found a pearl for once. It made you vulnerable. For once, you cared. You felt blood in your veins, and it made you scared. You thought that your heart was on ice. You're not a monster, darling. You're deserving of love despite your flaws.
Pierrot is an unfortunate character from the world of pantomime, one who constantly fails and stumbles. The work is inspired both by Pierrot's story and by the melancholic musical compositions of Darren Curtis.
The painting Mortal Facade is a 30 by 40 centimeter oil painting on canvas. I used a color scheme of yellows, browns, hints of purple, and black. This piece depicts a human figure standing in a lit pathway. There are trees and light coming from the end of the path. The human figure represents oneself on the path of life. As humans, most of us are molded by our environment. Like the painting, the darkness surrounds us, but we must keep our focus on reaching to the end of the path. Like the popular phrase, there is light at the end of the tunnel.